Well, hello, that's me again. Today is July 4th, 2025. It is America's Day and it's Independence Day and it's the time of birth of great nation. No matter what we say, United States remains a great nation. It is still superpower. And my best wishes, because I'm American citizen, I celebrate it. We're gonna be celebrating it today with burgers, steaks, and sausages. So it's absolutely normal. And it's a wonderful holiday, and but what is important about this holiday is primarily American thing. It's important event in the sense that people send their congratulations to the United States, and for all bad what United States committed in the last 100 years around the world. I mean, after World War II primarily, we still have to remember there are many positive things which United States brought to the table of the human civilization. And let's repeat it again, it's not all of it is bad. There is a lot to be admired and still to be admired about the United States, despite the fact that it obviously is in present state, at the present stage is in the rather very fragile mental state. And this is happening in the last 20 years when the United States for some reason decided to become what it never was. As quoting Mr. Obama, the finest fighting force in history. However, first, what you see in the beginning is there actually, well, Kiev. And it's not just Kiev, it's most of the critical Ukrainian cities. And Russians, as you know, they do not attack civilian infrastructure, but they dealing with all kinds of military and military industrial installations. And the picture, as you can see yourself, yet another proof that Russians run out of missiles. I'm being facetious, of course. Russia have been running out of missiles for the last 3.5 years. Now, there's an important thing, obviously. Mr. Putin and Mr. Trump talked about things yesterday. And if you want to see the basically elaboration of this matter, so I suggest you to go to our good friend Larry Johnson, who provided an excellent elaboration on the importance of today's yesterday chat between Putin and Trump, and he gives a good readout, so to speak, about all those events when Mr. Putin obviously called Trump to congratulate him with the 4th of July. But Mr. Trump, after that, he comes out and he says, oh, I'm not really satisfied with Putin. Why would Mr. Trump be not satisfied or, disappointed in Mr. Putin? As I already stated in the last previous videos, actually, and that the famous meme in Russia, this famous book is to, obviously it's fake book, that doesn't exist, but it is how to control the universe without attracting attention of the orderlies in the asylum. So Mr. Trump still operates on this assumption that somehow Mr. Putin should, be admiring his incredible, irresistible shining from Mr. Trump. But of course, Mr. Putin, while repeating the normal, diplomatic thing, congratulating United States with its Independence Day. The same goes for Mr. Lavrov and sending it to Marco Rubio. So those congratulations. We have this situation. So, and this situation is kind of, how to put it politely, this is what Mr. Putin stated in regards to special military operation. This is machine translation, but this is from the words of Mr. Ushakov. And Mr. Trump still believes that he can somehow get, well, the ceasefire. I don't know. The guy lives in the alternative universe, but the interlocutors exchange views on the situation on Ukraine, essentially. This is what Mr. Ushakov, the aide to Mr. Putin, states to Russian media. Putin confirmed the readiness of Russian side to continue negotiations, which, Russians always were. And he informed his American counterpart about the implementation of the Istanbul Agreement. Specifically, the content of a possible third round of negotiations in Istanbul was not discussed, but Russia is ready for it. But Trump again raised this question of the early cessation of hostilities. Here is the quote by Mr. Ushakov. Our president also said that Russia will achieve its goals. That is the elimination of all the root causes that led to the current state of affairs, to the current confrontation, and Russia will not retreat from these goals. And actually, the wording was stronger because it's machine translation. Actually, what he stated, Mr. Putin, Russia will not back down from these goals. Period. Simple as that. Mr. Trump can take it or leave it. It doesn't matter what he is thinking, how much he is dissatisfied with Vladimir Putin or disappointed. Nobody cares. United States is in no position to do anything about this because United States, first, it's a party to the hostilities, it's a party to war, it's on the side opposite to Russia, and as such, and main provider of this whole mess, essentially, including thereby the shipment of the weapons. Well, what can I say? That's what the position United States wanted itself, and for all celebrations and totally justifiable, wonderful celebrations of Independence Day, they have to keep in mind the fact that I'm sorry, guys. This is the reality on the ground, and reality on the ground, we'll discuss it shortly, is such that the United States simply in no position to do anything about it. And here come those news which many people probably missed, and my task is here to deliver those news and explain the significance of those, because they are massively significant. And we will start with the issue of the Mr. Rybkov. And Mr. Rybkov is, of course, first deputy of the foreign minister of Russian Federation. This is a heavy weight. Who knows? He might take the place of Mr. Lavrov, and Mr. Lavrov will be allowed to retire. And so here it is. On 1st of July, so 3 days ago, Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Rybkov visited the Iranian embassy in Moscow to express condolences to the Islamic Republic in connection with the death of many people during the 12-day war with Israel. And he states, and listen attentively what he states, we will continue to strengthen relations with the Islamic Republic of Iran in all spheres. Iran's defense capabilities should be strengthened. We have important and valuable experience in this area. Relying on it, we will move ahead, not move on. We will move ahead. So, Mr. Rybkov, he is not, he's not putting those, taking those statements out of his behind. No, it's absolutely verified. It's absolutely very well weighted, not improvised statement. And you have to keep in mind that Mr. Putin, remember, before the start of this whole mayhem between Israel and Iran, he stated correctly, because I was on it for years actually, that we offered military cooperation, we offered air defense complexes to Iran. They declined. Well, I think they are not declining this anymore. And as we already been through that and discussed this issue that Mr. Arakchi was immediately after the end of the hostilities in Moscow, then you had the defense minister of Iran communicating with Mr. Belousov, who is defense minister of Russia, on number of occasions. So we are looking now at basically establishment of the very serious military communication between Iran and Russia. And you probably, if you want to, can go back tomorrow and listen to my talk between Nima and me. We were discussing this issue, why essentially Western press, Western media, which is totally expected from them, go bananas about this J-10 thing, fighter from China, which Iran allegedly wants to buy. Yeah, it wanted to buy for the last 20 years. They were in negotiations with that. But what we know now is that, yes, it's confirmed, Iran does have number of Su-35s. It's shaking down this, whatever it will be, we don't know the exact number. shaking down this unit formation until it's fully combat ready. And this cooperation will continue. Obviously, Iran will be getting Su-35s, continue to get Su-35s. It will be getting newest and fully net-centric air defense complexes from Russia. And so, yeah, and Russians will do what they usually do. They, if need be, they will support Iran militarily. And then, of course, we'll have to keep in mind what kind of the military arrangement in terms of the either treaty or some kind of agreement will be made between Tehran and Moscow. But we can be sure that essentially Iran will get Russian military support. And that is important, especially because many people think that, the war or attacks on Iran will not stop, albeit, of course, Tel Aviv, not only Tel Aviv, the official Tel Aviv, Israel got mauled pretty badly. So it's a whole complex situation there, but we have to keep in mind our attention on this. So I will be updating you as much as I know. And so now we come to other immensely important thing. And this statement cannot be ignored. You just cannot ignore those things. They are extremely important. As much as many people, especially military porn masturbators, there are very many fanboys, especially the guys who, I'm talking about the Western audience, who, for example, for some reason, think that they somehow understand things which are happening by listening and reading all kinds of the shysters such as Mr. Ribari or whatever the bunch of them, what is called wine horse or military horse, which those are not military professionals, and many of them are actually shadow assets of the Ukrainian intelligence services. And they think that, they understand all those explosions and things like that. No, they don't. And here comes the most important thing. And this is, the loaded statement. And look at this. Russian Foreign Ministry, the day before yesterday. And here, by the words of Zakharova, an official statement by the Russian Foreign Minister, and here is as reported by Interfax news agency. Moscow does not yet see grounds for a full-scale resumption of the Treaty on Strategic and Offensive Arms START. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said on Wednesday, there are no grounds for a full-scale resumption on the New START treaty in the current conditions. Russia has repeatedly outlined the prerequisites for a possible restart of the treaty process, she said at a briefing. The key obstacle remains the current state of the bilateral Russian-American relations that need to be corrected. And, of course, Washington needs to return to practical compliance with the fundamental principles of the New START treaty, indivisibility of security, equal and mutually beneficial interaction, recognition of the inextricable relationship between strategic offensive and defensive weapons. So, that is a loaded statement. And let me now kind of give you a little bit of the translation of the normal human language. The reason Russia doesn't see it, and the reason to return to this, is because obviously it is all wrapped into this polite, diplomatic rhetoric, which it's supposed to be. But reality is, and I spoke about this reality for years, United States and Russia right now, they are not even on the same rungs, so to speak, of the ladder of the strategic weapon systems. And let me explain something which has to be explained constantly. What was conceived at that time when those START treaties have been developed was the assumption, especially on the American side, that somehow United States leads Russia in the nuclear weapons and the delivery system. It was one of the most diluted things you can possibly discover in the interaction of the international relations, when indeed, which is the case, United States, for some reason, thinks that it's the finest thing in everything, including the strategic missile systems. I mean, it's missile systems, and of course, nuclear triad is usually a little bit more than that. It's the strategic bombers, but I mean, primarily the most important emphasis is on the strategic missile forces. So, and then of course, we have to remember 2019 when the United States completely abrogated the Intermediate Nuclear Forces Treaty, because it thought it was great. It's just leading. Remember Trump's super pooper missiles? Yeah, it's been 6 years now. Where are those super pooper missiles? Of course, they are nowhere near at any kind of deployment. Forget about the initial operational capability, but that was expected. And so let's take a look what we have now in terms of start and why Russia is not going to be resuming this thing until, well, which is the health freeze is over, I think, or there are any resumption of any more or less normal working relations between Russia and the United States. If we look attentively at the 2022 nuclear weapons stockpiles, you can take a look at it. It's Agence France Press. They obviously use this based on this ridiculous Swedish SIPRI Institute. Well, there are a bunch of morons there, but still, yeah, let's kind of say that, yeah, they're more or less correct, give and take. And so, as you can see yourself, these are nuclear weapons stockpiles. Warheads by country in 2022, it's Stockholm International Peace Research Institute. And as you can see yourself, so United States has 5,428 warheads, or nuclear weapons rather, and Russia has 5,977. And they just dwarf. Nuclear arsenals of United States and Russia just dwarf anything what is out there. But here comes the most important thing. If you take a look at American B-61 gravity bomb, gravity meaning what? Free-falling bomb. What do you need to basically use this bomb? Well, you need the carrier, right? You need something which flies in and drops this bomb. It's not even gliding bomb, like, for example, latest Russian UMPK bombs with like FAB 3000 or FAB 1500. They fly now at 100 kilometers. So no, this is a free-falling bomb, and you literally need to get over the target to drop it. Well, as you might understand, it's a ridiculous proposition if you want to fight this with Russia, because you're not going to get over the target 100%. You will be shot down. You will be killed. So it's basically a useless weapon. It's primarily a psychological weapon. And and especially after we learned about the situation with the Sentinel program, which is, I mean, in a horrendous state, and who knows, it might not even materialize at all. And that means that the United States will continue to rely on the Minuteman III missiles, which are, well, they will be updated, obviously, but their technologically obsolete delivery weapon system is a classic ballistic missile. And so they say that it probably would take United States a nuclear deterrent to 2050. Some say that it's ground-based nuclear deterrent to 2070. Which is like horrendous. But so basically United States is actually beginning to focus primarily on its naval component of the nuclear deterrent, which is, of course, those higher class submarines, strategic missile submarines, which carried Trident II D5 missiles. They are also becoming obsolete, but at least they are going to see their actual deterrent. And I'm not talking seriously about any kind of the bomb of force, because this is obsolete concept, and the only way bomb of force is viable as the one of this part of this triad is if it launches standoff long-range weapons. And here comes this issue. Here comes this issue when we have to understand that United States is not even in this niche. Forget it, not even universe. So I don't know what kind of the descriptive powers should I use here to describe to you how badly United States lags behind it. I will show you again. I will remind you. This is, for example, the range of the Russian now serially produced what is called the extended range missile, which is based probably on the KH-101, which already had a range of almost 6,000 kilometers. Now it's the range of the newest missile, and this is not the extended range, is more than 8,500 kilometers. So that means any Russian strategic bomber, be it Tu-95MC or Tu-160, while fully remaining in Russian airspace can launch the barrage, if you wish, the salvo of those missiles which will be nuclear tipped, and it will cover everything in the United States and Canada completely. And we all know what kind of the air defense or anti-missile defense the United States has. Well, it's pretty much non-existent. And so this is just to give you that example. Then, of course, you all remember this, right? This is the type of the weaponry which also shook the world to the core. And as the result, when you talk about Oreshnik, here is there also another reminder to you about Oreshnik. Remember, I showed you Oreshnik is the mobile complex. And as you can see yourself, you can put couple of launches of Oreshniks, which is basically will amount to 72 warheads. And as you can see yourself, and this is INF, it's not even considered strategic weapon. As you can see yourself, somewhere from Chukotka, it covers pretty much critical parts of Canada and the United States, including the, well, guess what, Wyoming, where all those, silos of the Minutemans are there, and obviously you also have the North Dakota Air Force Base where they fly the strategic bombers from. So it's a very kind of interesting situation because, yeah, what can possibly United States bring on the table when talking about the strategic arms limitations? Nothing. The only thing United States wants this start now is, of course, to get to inspect whatever they can inspect in terms of Russian nuclear weapons. And specifically, as I already stated, nuclear warheads are not that big of a deal. These are delivery systems, and delivery systems are such that Russia has the spectrum of delivery systems, including what would be considered the intermediate range and what would be considered operational tactical, which suddenly, like Mr. Iskander, it can fly now more than 1,000 kilometers, which it does. And that means if you launch it from Kaliningrad, it covers pretty much most of the Europe. So what do we have here? We have here an inequality, and this is so lopsided. I don't have words to describe to you. It is like the 21st century power, nuclear power, talks to the 20th century nuclear power. It is the generational lag, it is generational gap which cannot be closed as much as the United States tries. But then again, keep in mind, even Columbia strategic missile submarine, obviously the United States will be able to finish it one way or another. You know what, it will finish it, and at some point of time by 2030 the first hull of this submarine will be floated out and it will start its tests and then initial operation and capability. But the point is, it's still going to be carrying Trident 2D5, which at that time will be 40 plus years missile system. And it's nowhere near with practically every single Russian intermediate or let alone strategic missile submarines, all of which now practically equipped with the hypersonic blocks. Those blocks, they fly on the intercontinental range and they fly with the speeds of Mach 27 while simultaneously maneuvering. Do you want to intercept this? Let me give you the example at the probability of intercepting this. 0. In fact, is, I don't know if we can go, of course, there is no such thing as negative probability, but to kind of for the dramatic effect, I might as well go and say, yeah, it's negative, okay? So, and when we talk about this, and then we have the other thing, which I constantly talk about, you also can go and read and find it in Larry Johnson's actually writing in his blog. And we've been about this very much on point since for many years. Russians have what United States doesn't. Russia has the development of the which proceeds extremely successfully. Strategic anti-missile defense. United States has nothing which is even in the same universe as S-500, S-550, and H-235 Nudol. So, I mean, and this is just continuing progress in Russian development of the weapon systems and strategic missile defense, which eventually, I don't know, 10 years maybe, it will be able to be developed and produced in quantities which will mitigate even massive strike by the United States nuclear deterrent. So, there you go. This is why this whole thing is not going good for start in terms of the United States. But then, of course, we have the situation which Mr. Trump, as I already stated, he's very unhappy. Is development on the lines of the combat contact in special military operation. We have this yesterday statistics, which is July 3. As you can see yourself, the slaughter continues, the meat grinder continues, and it will continue slowly, deliberately, and again, there will be no ceasefire. As a result, we're going to our good friend Marat Hairulin, and as you can see yourself, this is the yesterday's situation at the Kharkov Oblast and the Veliki Burlu-Kupiansk sector, and take a look at those interesting arrows. As you can see yourself, Kupiansk is being surrounded on all sides, and yeah, Russians not gonna go in. Obviously, the diversionary recon groups do go in, but I mean, there will be no assault. No, they will, as always, they will squeeze it. And the same goes pretty much everywhere, including if we go into the Pokrovsk area. As you can see yourself, look attentively how it is all happening, especially when you look at this orange segment, which is Russians going towards Vodinskaya, and they continue to surround Pokrovsk. And we know also now that Sumy region is also being evacuated. They will sell, some Ukrainians sell their real estate, or rather try to sell real estate there. Sure, why not? But this is the these are the events of the last 48 hours. There is also a sad event of Mr. Gudkov, hero of Russian Federation, the commander of the 155th Marine Brigades, and he was killed together with his some of his aides 2 days ago. He is a major general, and because Vladimir Putin was absolutely impressed with the operations of the 155th Brigade of the Marines, essentially Gudkov was promoted to major general, and he was given the billet of the deputy of the commander of the Black Sea Fleet, and this was in the charge of the in the charge of the what is called the shore coastal forces, primarily Marines, basically. So, well, he was killed. I know there are some details which I'm not going to disclose how he was killed. Let me put it this way: there was a rat. Which is Ukrainians. They look like us. Russians. They speak Russian. So there are all kinds of people. So who it's the issue for the counterintelligence, and once in a while they get lucky. So he was killed, and obviously that is a sad occasion, but new people will come and step in his basically place. But it is the quality and basically mindset of Russian generals. They just cannot sit in the staff and behind lines. They need to go to the front line, and that's what they do. And Mr. Gudkov was actually leading charges while being a brigade commander, which is actually not a very good idea in modern warfare. But yeah, somebody knew that he was coming again to the front line, and they gave the coordinates. And after that, how it was done, it's the whole other story. So, well, he went and died like typical Russian general on the front line, instead of sitting in staff and combat managing his subordinates. But it is what it is. It's war. So, and as the result, you already saw yourself what is happening with Kiev and all those military industrial places, and they will continue to increase in quantity and intensity. And what can I say? When people talk about this whole situation with Trump, he's unhappy with this and that. Let me remind you one very important article in conclusion today, which I love to quote. It's from the American Conservative, and how to put it politely. Let's take a look at this. You know, I already spoke about it before. It's the American Conservative in December 10, 2020. And Matt Purple, who wrote this, he's absolutely correct. Our elites couldn't reset a wall outlet, let alone the global economy. The Great Reset sounds sinister, but it's less Marxist conspiracy than dreary board game for the wealthy and powerful. And this is what I'm constantly trying to convey to many people, that we are in the circus. We are in the idiocracy. We are in all of these things which normal people, except with the, basically their jaw on the floor, instead of complete bewilderment and confusion. What the hell is going on? Are they that stupid? Yes, they are. And those people who visit my blog, that this discussion pops up again and again and again. Each time we talk about the people who have no clue. They are the guys who are running those governments, who are those, powers that be. They gather in all those Bilderberg clubs, and they, clubs, and they, sit in those think tanks. They are also part of the APAC. Well, let me put it this way in conclusion. Tucker Carlson correctly states that he goes on what's the name of it, on record, talking about the people who essentially, neocons and Israeli firsters, and he writes this. Here is an irony. Many of the neocons pushing for a war with Iran have never joined the military themselves. Instead, they sit in their comfortable DC offices, dreaming up conflicts that will destroy countless regular people's lives, but leave them completely untouched. He talks about the guy from the SEAL Team 6 or whatever, the guy from service member, and the people who have to die for those bunch of the cowards. Let me explain. And when we talk about the wall outlet and they cannot reset it, neocons don't know what war is. Come to think about, most in the United States military don't know what they're dealing with when they look at what is happening in special military operations, or when this demonstration of the missile power by Iran shook Israel and neocons to the core. They are not good militarily. They never were. And when you look attentively at Kagan's cabal and, for example, Institute for the Study of War, these are amateurs. They're a bunch of cretins who pretend that they somehow know what the war is. And look at their, those people like General Keane, General Kellogg, Petraeus. Good Lord, those people wouldn't be allowed to command a battalion in Russian army. But what do I say? What do I know? So anyhow, this is what I wanted to tell you guys today on this 4th of July, and because obviously my American audience will be celebrating, and rightly so, this wonderful holiday, but for others, obviously, will be waiting for my word, so to speak, on Friday. And here it is. This is what I wanted to tell you today, guys. And as always, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel, and those who can afford, please support me on the Patreon or buy me a coffee and too. That will keep me in this business. And so again, best of and wonderful 4th of July to everybody who celebrates it, and I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye bye.